Hey, this is Kat at Cat Tales TV, and I'm going to try to run through this. These are 20 signs of a psychopath, and this comes into play for obvious reasons. Many psychopathic people are pathological liars and master manipulators, which can make it much more difficult to spot the signs of a psychopath. Psychopathic traits and characteristics often become more obvious when you have more frequent interactions with a person, at which point the symptoms of psychopathy may become more evident. Here are 20 signs of a psychopath to look out for. Superficial charm and charisma. Psychopaths can be very charming, charismatic, and persuasive people. This can be especially so with female psychopaths who let me see what they say, who are more social and emotional than their male counterparts. While they lack true empathy, they are often very skilled at faking pro-social behaviors like flattery, kindness, and false sympathy. They may use these skills to get things that they want from people, but eventually they are unable to keep up the act. Over time, the charm and charisma will probably wear off, unmasking an underlying coldness or cruelty. That was number one, superficial charm and charisma. Number two, unnecessary, cruelty or a mean streak. Once the superficial charm and charisma wears off, a psychopath will often demonstrate moments of cruelty or meanness. This may include gossip, biting comments, lashing out aggressively at others, laughing, or being entertained when they hurt or embarrass someone. Cruelty and meanness are hallmark signs of a psychopath and often lead to a pattern of violating the rights of others. Remember that. They often lead to a pattern of violating the rights of others. Number three, lies, exaggerations, and dishonesty. Many psychopaths are prone to pathological lying. They may exaggerate the truth to get their way, inflate their ego, or get others to think, feel, or do what they want them to do. Most normal people feel guilty, or at least a little worried about being caught in a lie. But a psychopath's lack of conscience makes lying and guilt a guilt-free activity. I'm laughing because this reminds me of someone I dated, but anyway. Okay, most normal people feel guilty or at least a little worried about being caught in a lie. But a psychopath's lack of conscience makes lying a guilt-free activity. In fact, deception is even a listed symptom of ASBD, which is antisocial personality disorder, and can even show up as a person faking remorse, empathy, or care and concern for other people. Number four, lack of accountability and playing the blame game. Psychopaths commit some of the most cruel, violent, and heinous acts in society, but they rarely take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they are more likely to blame other people, make excuses, and try to justify their actions, no matter how bad they are. This sign of a psychopath is indicative of their lack of morals, conscience, and empathy, meaning they do not have the same sense of right and wrong that most people do. Number five, need for power, control, and dominance. Many psychopaths seek out positions of power and authority because they can enjoy domination and control of other people. According to some research, psychopaths are slightly more likely to seek out and secure positions of leadership in corporate world, suggesting there is a grain of truth in the stereotype of a psychopathic CEO. There is also a known overlap between psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, immoral and exploitive tendencies, which can lead to a hunger for power and control. Number six, sadistic enjoyment of pain and suffering. Sadism is a word that describes a sick sense of pleasure from pain and suffering of other people. In some psychopathic people, the pain of others is sexually arousing, and in others, the pleasure is non-sexual, has more to do with excitement, power, or a rush of the experience. Not all psychopaths are sadistic, but this quality is not an uncommon trait in a psychopath, which may explain why psychopathic traits predict violent and sexually violent crimes with 80% accuracy. All right, number 7 is boredom and thrill-seeking behaviors. This is why, okay, so I'm just going to try to run through it. But psychopaths are overall less impulsive than sociopaths because they aren't driven by strong emotions, but their dulled emotional response may cause them to seek out thrills. This may be why psychopaths are more likely to engage in crime, violence, sexual promiscuity, drug, and alcohol use. Okay, number 8, disregard for rules, laws, and norms. Psychopaths do not follow the same code of ethics as most people in society, which is why they often behave in immoral or illegal or even illegal ways. These may include minor offenses like inappropriate comments or profanity, or more serious offenses like crime and violence. While not all psychopaths are violent criminals, a very high percentage of people who commit crimes, especially violent crimes, have psychopathic traits. Unaffected and unafraid of consequences. While most people who engage in criminal behaviors live in fear of being caught, psychopaths don't always have the same fear. This may be partially explained by the fact that psychopaths are believed to have abnormalities in areas of the brain that create fear responses. They create normal fear responses, and also parts of the brain linked to impulse control and good long-term decision-making. Number 10, detached, cold, and callous demeanor. Number 11, a history of childhood behavior problems. Number 12, a trail of short, broken relationships. Okay, and it says psychopaths lack the ability to empathize with other people, so it makes sense that they have trouble forming and maintaining close relationships with people. While they may be able to use their charm or powers of persuasion to fool people into liking them, they usually lack the ability to maintain these relationships over time. This is why most psychopaths have very short, shallow relationships with people, as well as many people who they've betrayed, hurt, or turned into enemies. I hope you guys heard that. Number 13, exploitation of others for personal gain. A psychopath will use, abuse, and exploit other people, especially when it means getting something they want in their pursuit of power, wealth, fame, and so forth. There are no lengths that they won't go in order to get what they want. This is bound to leave many casualties in their path, and a psychopath will have no remorse when they need to throw someone under the bus in order to get ahead, even when this is someone who has helped them along the way. I know a lot of you are hearing this and going, yeah. 14 is very cool. Calculated and strategic planning. While sociopaths are more driven by emotions, a psychopath is more cool-headed and calculated in their decision-making. This can make them more dangerous because it's not as easy to predict what they will do or when they will make their move. Some psychopaths devise detailed plans on how to con, exploit, or take advantage of people who are naturally generous, kind, and trusting. While psychopaths are not generally patient individuals, they are generally less impulsive than sociopaths. Number 15, lack of conscience. Even when they harm another person, a psychopath will not feel genuine remorse for their actions, and they may not even be fazed by the consequences of their actions when they get in trouble. We'll just leave that there. Oh, shit. 16, abnormal ways of thinking. Abnormal thoughts are common in psychopaths because their brains are wired different. This could make them make strange, odd, or off-putting comments or observation during normal conversation. Also, psychopaths may occasionally provide a disturbing view into their twisted mind when talking about strange things they like, mean comments about others, or statements that make it clear they don't care about other people. 17, poor attention span and loss of interest. One of the less commonly known signs of a psychopath is a poor attention span, which can show up similar ways as symptoms of ADD or ADHD. A psychopath becomes easily bored with activity, tasks, and people, and is always looking for something more exciting or entertaining to do or see. So they can lose interest in goals and people and relationships and just throw them out. 18, violent tendencies, abuse or aggression. One of the most dangerous signs of a psychopath is a tendency towards violence, aggression, and abuse. Psychopathy is one of the strongest predictors of violent behavior, including violent crimes and sexual violence. Unfortunately, many violent psychopaths will reoffend and even after receiving treatment. 19, hostile and oppositional by nature. Another one of the psychopathic traits that is less commonly known as a hostile and oppositional demeanor. While psychopaths can pretend to be friendly, kind, and charming for a short time, their true nature is more aggressive. Psychopaths are more likely to hold racist, sexist, or misogynist views towards others, and also more likely to treat people in a hostile or unkind way. They may also be more argumentative and combative, seeking out conflict and confrontation, while most people try to avoid it. Number 20, masters of deception. A final warning sign of a psychopath is a person who seems to be especially skilled at the art of deception. Psychopaths are masters of deception and use lies, distortions of truth, gaslighting, and other dishonest tactics to emotionally manipulate other people and falsely represent the truth. Let me read that again. Psychopaths are masters of deception and use lies, distortions of the truth, gaslighting, and other dishonest tactics to emotionally manipulate other people and falsely represent the truth. Unfortunately, psychopaths in treatment may use these deceptive tactics to fool counselors and treatment providers into thinking they have improved. Anyway, so that's the 20 signs of a psychopath. Okay. And there's a reason why I read that to you. Is because this goes to the whole Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez story. One of the most chilling things that I heard in court, and I did say it in that first video after Tory Lanez was found guilty. I mentioned how the prosecuting attorney, Kathy Todd, looked at the jury and said a comment like, if Megan would have lied about this, then she would have been a psychopath. And I literally was freaking out because I was like, yeah, hello. Like, in other words, you know when they say hidden in plain sight? I don't know if she was making a joke or, oh my God, I'm looking at the notes I wrote. I'm trying to see if I can find the actual notes of what the freaking prosecutor said, because it really freaked me out. Because she did a lot of strange things, highly manipulative and clever, but that really freaked me out when she said that. Of course I can't find it because I'm I'm trying to see. Yeah. So, by the way, the prosecution accuses defense of blaming Megan's sex life and tries to say Megan's sex life has nothing to do with the case. They say lead by the evidence, but the evidence was weak, by the way. The thing is, Megan's sex life does come into play is because she lied about it. She had a motive. She could have tried to shoot Tory. She could have tried to shoot Kelsey. She could have just, or vice versa. Kelsey could have tried to shoot her. Kelsey could have tried to shoot Tory. They said they were all drunk, which is another thing. But also, you got to remember, Megan demanded to be in Tory's car. She was on her way home twice. First, she's supposed to go home with EJ, but then she demanded that EJ take her belongings out of his car and put them in Tory's car. I don't even know if she asked Tory for that, but she did it anyway. So her and Kelsey were on their way home, And then, without Tory, by the way, we got to remind you that Tory was still at the party alone with Kylie Jenner. I'm so sorry, Kylie Jenner. So Megan was on her way home a second time, and she's like, oh, no, I left my slipper, like Cinderella, at the house, and I have to go back. So she made Tory's driver drive her back to Kylie's house, which she's supposedly been kicked out before, but she didn't tell that truth. And then she somehow gets Tory dragged out of that party. So she drags Tory out of the party, and her belongings are in the car. So how do we know that wasn't her gun? We don't, but the DNA said Tory's DNA wasn't on the gun. 2 females were. And I think another guy. But anyway, fucking prosecutor said DNA doesn't matter, which is insane. So anyway, all I'm trying to say is look up psychopathy and check the lies. All right? Thanks. Bye.